What's up, Amazon sellers? Selling on Amazon is not all roses, and recently we lost $11,000 to fraud in my Amazon arbitrage business in the USA. And I want to share with you what happened and what we've done since, and also what you can do to stop this from happening going forward. Stay tuned. Right, if you don't know who I am, my name is Thomas Parkinson, and I've been selling on Amazon now for 4 years. In the UK, we've basically been doing 4 years doing online arbitrage. We've just broken 7 figures in 1 year. Check that out. And in the USA, we've also just broken 6 figures in, I think the last 6-7 months. Check that out. Now, hopefully in the near future, we're going to grow into another marketplace. And if you're interested in how I'm doing it, and obviously learning from me and what I'm doing in my journey, do make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. You're going to get notified when I release more videos. First things first, let's give you a little bit of a backstory, what actually happened. If you are new to this channel and you haven't seen what I've been doing, now I've been selling on Amazon in the UK for 4 years, and I have 3 businesses, Amazon UK, Amazon USA, and now FastTrackFBA as well. And we have more than, 50 VAs across all 3 companies, all working remotely in the Philippines. Now, even with, my years of experience and the learning, I did decide to diversify and not only to sell in the UK, but also Amazon USA. Now, currently in the USA, we're on our 7th month, and I know within just 6 months, we broke the 6-figure mark. And right now in month 7, we've done over 138,000 in sales. Hashtag incredible. Now, in those months, we've encountered problems such as cancelled orders, dropping sales. Now, to add to the list of problems, fraudulent transactions. Now, you might be asking what happened. Well, my team have actually seen that we've been charged for products in Italy, Germany, and basically a lot of them from Europe. And they were billing us, $1,000, $900, $800, $500. What was weird is obviously this is for our Amazon USA business. Buy from the USA, ship to the USA, sell within the USA. So why are we buying things in Europe? Now, this is before we even realized it, and we were charged $11,000 onto our credit card. Now, this was in October 21, it happened, and we detected it in October 29, so 8 days later. Now, what have we been doing since? Well, quite simply, my team have been working with our bank, Mercury, who we use, and in addition to that, we've been working internally to improve our processes, and now we've got to a much better point. And obviously today, I can share this information for you with what happened, what we learned, and what we've done going forward to minimize the impact of it happening again, and how we approach the whole problem. Why? So it can help you in your Amazon business as well. That's a little bit about what happened. It was fraudulent transactions. It wasn't my VA, spending it on sites in Europe. It was very much around the card details got taken and spent on sites we weren't even working with. Now, the one thing which I'll say before I jump into the 4 steps to help you manage fraudulent transactions and what to do, what I will say is we did create a downloadable content which can help you out in your business. Have a look at the link down below. You can download this, and 2 reasons why you want to do this. Number 1, it helps you if you have problems already. But number 2, and probably the more important one, is about it puts in good steps to help minimize the impact of it happening. So if you've got a purchasing team at the moment, purchasing manager, check out that downloadable content. You can download it, it's free of charge. It's going to help you out in understanding the steps we're putting into place to, number 1, minimize the likelihood of it happening, and then number 2, if it does happen, how can we minimize the impact? Check that out. It's a policy document we created, which we use for our team as well. Free downloadable content. Have a look at the link down below. Chapter 2, let's talk about now the 4 steps that we've done to avoid fraudulent transactions going forward. Number 1 is, first of all, we want to prevent fraud. So how do we prevent it? The second one is, if fraud does happen, how do we minimize the impact of it? Now, the third bit is, how do we detect fraud? And then finally, 4th is actually how to manage it once we've detected it, and what do we do next? And obviously we've gone through that step. So let's jump in now. So first things first, I will begin with fraud prevention. In order to prevent fraud or fraudulent transactions, what we've done is created a diagram, which I'm going to share with you now, and I'll discuss with you at each stage. So if I just overlay that, you can have a look. Okay, so here you can see, this is quite simple, but it does help with purchasing managers. Whenever they're doing a purchase, number 1, log in. Check the authenticity of the website. Even if they're not sure, maybe they haven't purchased it before, check reviews. What we believe has happened is our card has been used by a dodgy website that maybe didn't have the best security, maybe got hacked, and obviously they use that. We don't know the exact answer, that's what we suspect. And 9 times out of 10, it probably will be something like that. It's just a fraudulent website taking card details. So log in in, make sure you're checking websites before you go into them. Don't just believe everything you say, check review websites. Now for us, when we talk about analyze deal, and the process is not so much go through the whole deal analysis process, but just make sure that what you think you're buying is what you're actually buying. So always making sure you're actually buying the right products. I bought some testing good websites, fake Lego, seen it all before. Now, when you come to your credit card information, and we're trying to minimize fraud here, what we're trying to do is ensure that, should we say, on the website itself, a couple of basic checks. We always check the lock icon, just get used to doing that. It's got the lock icon. Also as well, we have a VPN. If it's an open network where you are, maybe in a cafe, people can steal your card details there, so we use a VPN. Also helps with cancelled orders. Also, the other thing we do as well is we don't save the card details to the website. Why? If someone logs in, maybe you're using a well-known email and an old password that's everyone knows, and you haven't got good security. If you've saved it to the website, then they can order other stuff. So we don't save the card details to the website, and obviously we don't share card details as well. So card protection there, minimization of that. Then what we do is we go through the purchase. So obviously purchase the product from the website, and then we record it on our USS. So the ultimate sourcing sheet, the sheet we use to manage all our purchases. Now that's pretty much the purchase process. Nothing too out of the ordinary there, kind of maybe some extra checks, just being sure we're happy. Now the final part is something that we'll do probably like maybe once a day, if not twice a day, called fraud checks. So what do we do? Now the fraud checks are carried out with our admin VA and our purchasing manager. And what they'll do is twofold. Number one, our purchasing manager will be getting messages every time one-time password comes through. If they're not expecting it and they see it, they're immediately going, whoa, this could be fraud. So very careful about seeing one-time passwords. But also as well, number two, they're going to be going into our bank, and with Mercury, you can log in with secondary users. They allow you to log in. Doesn't mean they have actual access to move the money. They can just see the transactions. And then what they can do is check the transactions on the bank account versus what we've got on our USS. And we're going to be doing checks every single day, maybe multiple times a day, to make sure that every transaction going through is the transactions we've got on the USS, making sure they match up. So that's something super important for us. Now, again, we talked about it here, daily admin checks, by the admin VA. And also as well, when we go through, especially on Mercury, you can actually add comments to each of the transactions, which is fantastic. And we just record what it was. For example, like, transaction confirmed, John Lewis, for example, or Walmart. So we'll put it in there. And then also as well, at the end of that, we'll do a random audit by the owner. So, me or you would go through, spot check random items, check it versus the USS, and just make sure that that check by your admin VAs or your purchasing manager is being done, that we're making sure we're seeing that all the transactions are accounted for and correct as per the USS. Now, that's pretty much a simple overlay of what we're looking at. Now, the one thing I try to say for you is there are so many checks that you can do to do legitimacy of a website, and way more than what I'm talking about here is I'll drop a link up here called How to Know If a Website is Legit or Not. Check that out. That's going to help you out. And I recommend everyone watch that if they're involved in purchasing and probably even sourcing as well. So once we've done prevention, this leads me on to step 2, which is very nice, it's called minimization. If we can't stop fraud, and it does happen, how do we say, well, if it is going to happen, how do we minimize the impact of it? So let's say, for example, we have one purchasing card with a 3K limit. What we've now done with Mercury, and I think a lot of other card providers, you can create multiple virtual cards. So what we now do is, instead of having one card with like a 3K daily limit, we'll now have 3 cards with a 1K daily limit. So if any one card gets stolen, they can now spend up to a maximum of 1,000, not 3,000. Now you can use that for however many limits you want. But what we'll do is we'll spread that risk across multiple cards rather than having one card we're doing with. The use of virtual cards in this case is very, very advantageous. That basically now means that we're minimizing the impact. It means we'll lose a maximum of 1,000, not £3,000 or $3,000 worth of fraud on our cards. Now, in addition to that, what we're also doing is all the cards we're deleting every single week, and we're creating new cards every week to do that. Now, one thing I will say is if you are using Mercury, we do what's known as freezing the cards rather than deleting them, just because if we never get refunds, so you can still get refunds when they're frozen. Now, the other thing we do as well is if we ever believe there is potential fraud on any of the cards, we'll immediately freeze it. We always need to make sure that if any suspected fraud, and we've had it 1 or 2 times, but it's a false alert, that we froze straight away and then we investigate it. So for us, having multiple cards, replacing them every single week and freezing them has really helped minimizing the impact of any potential fraud going forward. Now, for us, we keep the cards active in our bank account for about 8 weeks, and then we'll delete them off in case there's any history or any refunds that need to go on. Now that leads me nicely from, should we say, prevention to minimization, and now we're going to go through to the third step, which is called detection. For us to detect fraudulent transactions, this is what we're doing, talking back to that original overlay. Now remember, we did that kind of login, analyze credit card information, purchase. Now it's about the fraud checks. Now this is done in multiple ways. So the purchasing manager themselves, they're going to get email notifications from the bank account or text messages, which can convert to email through services you can use like Blacktail, for example. Now, quite simply, what happens is they are going to just check those emails as they come in. They're going to turn on the notification. So you want to see that email coming on the desktop of every time money has been spent on the card. And if there's been money spent that they didn't spend, i.e. themselves, then that's going to raise an alert. And then we have to obviously freeze the card and investigate. So number one is the purchasing manager to get notifications, email notifications about all purchases on the card at all times. They're the person spending, they should be getting the notifications. Now, aside from that, number two is the admin VA is going to be checking the bank feed live, logging in, twice a day, once a day versus the USS purchases. And this is to just double check that the amount being charged on the card and all the transactions on the card are the same as what we're recording on the USS. If there are variances, if there are anomalies, if there's transactions we're not noticing, then immediately we alert, we freeze, and we investigate. So this is about when fraud is detected, we will suspend purchasing for those cards and we'll do an investigation into the transactions to see what has happened. And the fourth and final step is fraud management. Obviously for us, 11,000, we had to do this quite extensively. Now, once a transaction has been verified as fraudulent, what do we do then? We now proceed to the managing of the fraudulent transactions by quickly checking the following. So first things first, number one, we're going to check the total amount, i.e., card A was charged with $5,000. For example. Now, number two, we're going to check the number of transactions. Was it one? Was it two? Was it three or four? Which don't align with the USS or the purchasing manager. We want to just detail all that information, make sure we got it. Then what we want to do is number three is check the date posted. For example, if it happened on like the 5th of December, but we might be detecting on the 8th because transactions are taking time to come through. We also just want to make sure that we understand what's going on, the dates of all the cards, transactions, and the dates posted, and also checking other cards to see if there's a possibility of more than one compromised card. Now, once we've collected all that information, that now is going to be followed by the next task, which is informing myself as the owner of the business, and in my business development manager, but also for you, you probably don't have one, but that will be through immediately. So collecting that information, and that'll be immediately informing us through Skype and Slack. So both channels, because I get them on my phone in different ways, or however you communicate. So once it's been detected, collect the information, communicate to the business owner, communicate to the relevant people who need to know as soon as possible. Now, the team member will complete a set paragraph of text, which will be sent to me and my business manager. Why? For example, the team member might not be able to cancel the card, there might be a problem, they might have some information they need to share, and by having a predefined bit of text that they share in that template, and again, that's on that downloadable link, it just makes sure we get all the information we need to know before they send that information. So let's say, for example, maybe I'm asleep when they send it, maybe my VA is asleep when I wake up, then obviously I've got all the information I need to know on that Slack message so I can react straight away. So that predefined bit of text really, really helps. Now, that's just going to help us. And now, in addition to sending that Slack text, what my VA is also going to do, my VA is also going to call me 3 times on Skype, which is going to be an alert for me. 1 time, not interested. 2 times, 3 times, okay, there's a problem. I need to get this answered. They've been already pre-authorized to send me that message and call me 3 times as per the policy, which signals an SOS to me. Something is majorly wrong. I need to be dealing with this ASAP. That just shows the alert. So we've already planned that out within our team and set the information to be shared. Now, once my business development manager or myself or you as a business owner understand, maybe pick up this call or even just see the message, we can immediately jump on, cancel the compromised cards, and obviously now work with our team, build an email to complain to the bank and to the merchant about the fraudulent transactions using the template provided. And why? Because we have done this, used this template to recover the money, to get the money back from fraudulent transactions. Now, further to this, managing the fraudulent transactions, the business development manager, along with all those involved in the Amazon business, are then going to conduct an investigation. Even if it means suspending purchasing for us, then we're going to try and identify what happened and how we can improve and get better in the future. So after completing these 4 steps, step 1, fraud prevention, step 2, minimizing, step 3, detection, step 4, fraud management, we now resume purchasing and obviously issuing of new virtual cards. So quite a lot to go through there and a lot of thoughts, but the idea is it's a very defined process of minimizing or prevention, minimizing, detecting, and then managing when it happens. And this is communicated to the whole entire team. So if anyone detects it, they know the exact text they've got to fill out, fill in the blanks, send that to us through all our channels, and then call us 3 times. And that just alerts all the people who need to know there is an SOS problem. Jump on it today. Now, what I will say for you guys is do check out that downloadable content. It's got all this in there, that overlay and our policy guide. And I really recommend sharing this with your team. I think this is super important because, my God, there's $11,000 for us. Okay, so today we're talking about fraud in our account, or should say in our business. And my God, $11,000 is a lot of money. Now, the one thing I'll quickly say for you is hopefully you can hear that, I've got plus 50 VAs in my businesses. We're running a lot, and we're talking about how teams operate here. And why have I been able to achieve this? Because quite simply, I have a team running my business, doing my business, buying, selling, making the money. My God, we've done over 1 million in 12 months, and I've been able to travel the world. Now, it's not for the fact that I'm not doing anything, I am working, but I have a team which make the business run while I'm still traveling. Now, the advantage of this is that I can grow the business while not needing to be in it every single day, but it does have problems like managing processes such as fraud. But if you are interested in building a team and want to know where to start, I'll always start with a sourcing VA. They find deals low to resell high on Amazon for a profit. And if you want a manual sourcing VA for an online arbitrage business, then check out FastTrackFBA VA Academy. We have trained over 340 VAs for 170 clients over the last 2 years. Most clients have come back for more than one VA, and that is shown in the numbers. And quite simply, why? Because it works. We find, hire, and train, and then support a VA in your business for 12 weeks to get results. Trust me, it's game changing. Loads of people are loving it. Have a look at the link down below, fasttrackfba.com/VA. You can book in for a free 30-minute consultation call with my team to see if a VA is going to be right for your business. Check it out. It's game changing. I think it's going to really help build your business. Okay, so this leads me nicely onto my third chapter, top tips. First things first, number 1, use software or website checkers, Chrome extensions to check the legitimacy of websites in order to prevent and minimize the fraudulent transactions. Double check if the new website looks like great deals. I would be checking like there is no tomorrow. A lot of these things like Scam Advisor or URL Void, they are going to help you understand. Check. Now, my second top tip for you is, in our case with this, is the moment you do detect fraud, and if you want to know, this is on debit cards, not a credit card we had it, do work with your bank. Now, we work with Mercury, we had a conversation with them, and quite simply, they asked us to, number 1, contact the supplier who the fraudulent transaction happened with, explain the situation to them, and then we were asked to forward that email onto them. And what happened? They provided something called provisional credits. So while we lost 11,000, they provided us with the credit of that amount back into our bank account while we were getting the fraud transactions come back in. Now, do speak to your bank, do work with them. They will advise you the best practice. I'm very happy to say that, the policy, we haven't had fraud since. So I'm super happy to my team and obviously to Mercury as well. Top bank, really recommend them. Now, what I will say is, after going through all of that, and obviously, my God, $11,000, that's a lot of cash. If you want to learn about how to avoid fraudulent transactions, getting started on Amazon, and really understanding what you need to be checking, then I created a playlist called Getting Started Selling on Amazon USA, and I'll drop it around here. Check that out. I think you're going to love it. But hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give me a big thumbs up. And hey, if you want to see more, hit the subscribe button down below. But for myself, Thomas Parkinson, FastTrackFBA, and 11,000 back in the bank, thank you very much.